bit. I think maybe start by telling us your story. How'd you get into hip hop, and how did you kind of get to where you are today?
All right, off top, the first song I
Also,
ever...
I'm gonna take these headphones off because it's more comfortable. You can do whatever.
Cool. Off top, the first song I ever heard was "I Love It When You Call Me Big Papa," and I'll never forget. I remember seeing that video, and I noticed Luke was in it, and for some reason I was like, I like this sound. I like this genre. Fast forward, and I remember. Let me see. I had a cassette tape player. My mom's went to this Christian bookstore, and I had this cassette tape. It was a sampler of multiple different songs.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it was just one hip hop song. I was always just rewind, go to it, to the point where like the tape started to fade. And I was like, I like hip hop. I like this. Fast forward, I'm in middle school. My brother had The Lox, We Are the Streets, and I remember taking that CD, The Lox and Drag On.
The Lox are great.
Yeah. Oh, indeed.
Jada, all of them.
Yeah, I used to take his CDs and like listen to them in school. And this is around the time on 125th Street you could actually buy CDs, buy the bootlegs.
I used to live up near there.
Really?
116th and Malcolm X.
Hey, right on time. You
yeah.
by the mosque?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, you familiar?
Right there.
All right.
Right in Harlem.
Yeah. I bought not Get Rich. No Mercy, No Fear by G Unit and 50 Cent.
Mm-hmm.
That changed my life.
Yeah.
That changed my listening perspective.
Classic hip hop record.
Right. Oh, all day. This is right when 50 was about to blow. Like he's on a cusp of it, and it's
Right.
like if you caught it, you're gonna catch it. This is right before. And I remember still to this day, I remember every song on there. This is how astonishing it is to me. I became an adult, and one of the songs I didn't like, this happened probably like within the last year. Some Tony Gayo song, I didn't like it at all. Like it was skip.
Yeah.
Now that I listen to it, I had to remember that like this was a groove.
Yeah.
That changed my life. And then Dipset, and I'm born and raised in Harlem, but the whole Diplomat era, they was dropping mixtapes every week, and it just progresses. When I was 15, MySpace era.
Shit.
Yeah.
MySpace.
I used to watch this guy. His name was Midas Beats, something like that. He was making beats on an MPC, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
I want to get, like, what is that? Looked it up and like, okay, this is an MPC. You can program, do this, that. I was in the after-school program at the time, and actually, are you familiar with Shaka King?
A little bit, yeah.
Shaka King, he wrote and produced the Judas and Messiah, the Messiah.
Yes.
The
movie score.
That
or
guy,
soundtrack.
yeah, he worked at the after-school program I was at.
That's
And
dope.
Look at divine
That's
intervention, bro.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
called
said,
being at the right place at the right time.
yeah, if it wasn't for him, I would not be here right now. I always accredit him to. I said, yo, man, I want to get an MPC, but it's like at the time I'm 15, it costs $1,000, and no bullshit. Yo, I got one at my house. You can come and get it, but it's just I don't know what's going on with it. You got to get it fixed and so on and so forth. I took a day, jumped on the J train. I'll never forget. I had the Jansport book bag. I chilled in his house. It was just such a serene, like he played me records, and I remember just like the Inside My Love, Minnie Riperton. He played that record for me, and I've heard it before just on a computer, but when I heard it with the crackle and like just the setting, and it was like the sun was coming into the room, and it was just like this is magnificent. I still remember it till this day, like in my head, like seeing that.
Yeah.
I get the MPC. We tested it out. He doesn't know what's wrong with it. Fast forward, when you to start up an old MPC 2000, you have to put a floppy disk in it. Now with the floppy disk, it reads and then it starts, and you can start producing and whatnot. The issue with it was when you put the floppy disk in, it wasn't going down. Like if you put a VCR tape in, it just sticks. So I just learned, and it wasn't even a. I learned this when I took it back to Harlem. Yo, as soon as I get that floppy disk start up, sky's the limit.
Right.
And ever since then, I still have tons of MPCs. I still have the first beat I ever made recorded, like on a hard drive somewhere in the house. It goes from the MPC, and once again back in the MySpace era, it was like this cut like producer group in California.
Yeah.
And I got introduced to the Roland MPC, the Roland SP404, and the 303 and the 202. This is around the time when Mad Villainy had came out with Madlib and MF Doom. And everyone was just, it was just this is the sound of right now. It's like underground. Are you familiar with Knowledge, the producer?
No.
He has a Grammy. He's done work with Nas, I think. But anyway, I can
look him up. That's my favorite part about these interviews. Afterwards, I rewatch and I look at him up.
I used to talk to him on MySpace, like, yo, bro, what are you doing? How are you making this music? He was like, well, I used to use an SP, but now I'm on Ableton Live. I was like, Ableton Live?
Right.
And at the time, I had a little laptop from the after school program I was working at. Got Ableton Live, learned that, and at the time, I was making original music, but once again, I'm jumping all over the place. Here's a story. I had the opportunity to have a studio session with Chris Styles. Chris Styles is the guy that produced Window Shopper for 50 Cent.
Yeah, I am familiar, I think, with him.
So, are you familiar with the movie ATL? It with T.I. Anyway.
Oh,
the dude
ties in maybe.
The dude named New York. I don't even know his name, but he was at the studio as well. I played off my beats, and both of them was like, "Yo, you good?" And then I remember Chris saying, "Yo, Shorty, you good, but like, you gonna cost your whole budget trying to clear one sample." So like, I was like, "Oh." Ever since then, I started making original music. So fast forward now, I'm on Ableton, getting my chops together, using the keyboard, trying to get everything together. Once again, it's just repetition, just doing it all over, doing it multiple times. Fast forward, not my Twitter. Twitter was cracking. Still using Ableton. Everything it is what it is. I meet Ryan Hemsworth.
This story is so interesting because it's basically taking us into the digital.
Yeah. Straight like that. That's my story.
It's like right down the road into the digital age.
I was still using Ableton. Cool. Got hip to it. Heard Ryan Hemsworth records, and once again, I've always been I talk to artists, ask questions.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, bro, what are you using? Because I'm still using Ableton Live. He's like, I use Logic Pro, not at the time, Logic Pro 9.
Yeah.
I'm like, and he swung me a copy. I'm like, good looking. Ever since then, that changed my life. I've been using Logic like over 10 years now.
Yeah. Logic's my favorite too.
Yeah, Logic Pro 9, Logic Pro X, and Logic Pro X now. But that's where I'm at. I'm still. That's my introduction to music production. Yeah.
It's crazy because it really did take us from before kind of computers when you were starting to really get into it. And then when laptops started to really take over, and you're talking about Ableton and Logic, you really brought yourself into that digital.